Good evening. It's Kinninigan. I'm going to answer this. Someone asked me about this the other day, and I'll just go over it real briefly because I just like exposing hypocrites. Apparently, somebody, whoever was writing the scripts that day for the deep state, I guess, when they ran this story, they didn't realize the implications of it, which is why I think it's starting to disappear in the news, and I'll explain why. CNN, there goes the top. Yeah, wink, wink. You got to read between the lines on this video. U.S. has new intelligence on Russian nuclear capabilities in space. And this supposedly happens right after somebody didn't get their aid money for a certain country. Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. There's a problem with this, which is that in 1966, and I will pin it as the top comment, there was a treaty signed in London, Moscow, and Washington, D.C., known as the Outer Space Treaty. This was signed in 1967, January 27th. There are a few things that like I said earlier, with the mayor of London being unhinged psychopath that doesn't think about the consequences of his actions before they open their mouths up. Here's the issue with this: it's known that even though countries can be worst enemies, that for example, British maritime banking that is stating that international waters are neutral to all countries for commerce, military training, engage. Yeah, that's international waters, and you only are responsible up to 20 miles, 20 nautical miles from your coast if you have a navy to protect it. There are a lot of secret treaties signed. We can only imagine what those are. But there are also ones that are not so secret, like the Outer Space Treaty. And there's some implications here with just because essentially what this is. All right, there are treaties signed that are neutral. One is the Antarctic. Russia has a science research station in Antarctica. So does the United States. So does England. Yeah, a lot of countries do. And it's considered quote unquote neutral territory. It's not to be militarized. The only, I think the only, they are, yeah, obviously they do carry weapons down there. I'm not saying they're not, but those weapons are specifically, in case you're being attacked by a polar bear or what other cryptoids live. Organism 46B. All right, so you just get the idea. And this is because these are neutral areas. Putting aside politics, these are international. And the last one being a neutral territory because we really don't know that much about it. Hello. How much space? Um, the only one really doing big things with space right now, I guess Elon Musk. We're not. Don't expect it with this regime. Well, anyway, so I wanted to do CNN's work for them. So CNN, you can mail me a check because I did investigative journalism for you. What did I do? I wanted to know what were the consequences if a party in a treaty breaches one of their um, treaty agreements, and how is it handled? Well, obviously, it's a lot like the UN. I got it right here. International law, the responsibility of states, countries, from Encyclopedia Britannica. So you can't tell me that my sources are fake news. And I read it. I'll give you the short version. More or less, it's the same thing. Whoever makes the accusation of another state having a breach in the treaty and part of the space treaty here, I'll pin this as the top comment. You can read it. It's in depth. Okay, it's very in depth. Basically, you cannot weaponize outer space. You cannot send nukes up there. Yeah, that's a whole can of worms I just opened there, just even saying that one, right? But here are all the articles. Here are the countries who signed it and when they did. Even Afghanistan was in it as of 1988. Yeah, these are all the other countries that are in the International Space Treaty. You have India, they have an active space program, China. So basically, you got to call a Security Council meeting and bring proof of said accusation to the council, in which then a vote is held in how the council should handle the violation of the treaty. Did you hear what I said there? Proof. Meaning you can't do a Fannie Willis or a Lakeisha James and just point a finger at someone and say, yeah, he did it. No, you actually need to provide proof for this. This is why I think the story is starting to kind of disappear. Whoever ran with this one, what do you expect? You think they're getting the best of the best? I doubt it. So I'll pin this as the top comment. If you have any legal knowledge of international law and how that's applied, leave me a comment. I'm curious. That's how I understand it. And according to, it's actually the last line here. Although states alone possess the right to grant nationality, if the claim is pleaded against another state, the grant of the nationality must conform to the requirements of international law and, in particular, demonstrate the existence of a genuine link between the individual and the state concerned. Hence, where is the proof that they put an EMP nuke in orbit? Right, and because we do, I don't know if maybe they don't know this. Maybe some Democrats don't. Oh my God, I we're in trouble. I guess they don't know. They don't know what's going on at the International Space Station. That's also a Russian American neutral zone in which we do have scientists up there from both nations doing whatever they do in space. Yeah, whatever. No, that's true though. We do have the International Space Station, although Russia was building their own. I wonder why. Yeah, these are declared areas that are neutral, and if any breaches or violations are made of them, for example, if they were building a military base in Antarctica, yeah, everyone in that treaty would have to, then they would have to, well, they would see the proof of it. You get the idea. Yada yada yada. Is that the term? Yeah, that's the Yiddish term, right? So this is going to be their downfall. It already has begun to be their downfall. This is the law of cause and effect, and well, this ain't even. This is not karma. This has nothing to do with karma. This ain't even the laws of cause and effect. This is just you being a employee of the United States government and knowing your shit, especially when it comes to international treaties and what treaties we have with certain countries under what conditions. Like, yeah, okay, Russia's bad; they invaded Ukraine, but we also have joint missions with them in space at the International Space Station and Antarctica, and who knows the Hollow Earth. I don't know the Hollow Earth Treaty. I haven't read that one yet, but I'm sure it exists. Anyway, that's going to be yeah, all for the video. I hate walking on eggshells when I talk, but I mean, how much more insanity do we have to deal with? And what I'm not going to sit here and be called names for 4 years and not defend myself. You are talking about nuclear holocaust that would wipe out potentially all life on planet Earth if that happened, the nuclear war, God forbid. And you just drop it like it's nothing. Oh yeah, we got to put nuke in space. Yeah, well, there is ways to go about that if they did. It's called the International Space Treaty. Go learn your shit, CNN. Like I said, I just did your job for you. Yeah, who's running with that story? Yeah, the same people, the same TDS. Yeah, because suspiciously, it's when they announced this. It was like right after that bill where they wanted money for what's his name? The drama queen over the Slavic drama queen. I'm not even going to say his name because you know why. Anyway, things are going to get interesting. We're getting to a new point now where people are realizing, yes, we outnumber you by a lot. It's called the Bud Light. Bud Light is going to go down in history as a philosophical metaphor for the downfall of tyrannical civilizations. I'm not kidding. It is you look, yeah, being a student of history, I'm not even doubting that. And I mean that sincerely. It's going to be known as like the Bud Light effect or something like that. Realizing that when you cater to a very small percent and you're outnumbered by a very larger percent, that they can easily affect things like just not buying your products, not watching your news station. I don't even know how CNN is keeping the lights on in that building. Um, well, I kind of know how. But even they're running out of money. Like I said, socialism only works until the money runs out. And when they run out of money that they can use for this and for that, and when people just start shutting commerce down, because socialism can't exist without capitalism because it basically steals everything that capitalism created. Now, I made that quote up. So, anyway, any questions or comments, leave them below. I'll leave this in the description as a top comment. Yes, this is the International Space Treaty. And if you go to Encyclopedia Britannica, laws and government, it's just international law. If certain parties break doctrines that were signed in treaties, usually like and what they do like in normal court cases is they will use pre-existing events as examples. They do that in Supreme Court has that done. Yeah, like Roe versus Wade or Jim versus Bob, Trump versus everyone. It's a shit. Oh, anyway, the insanity. Anyway, any questions or comments, leave them below. God bless and take care.